Alright, so in all my years on YouTube, I've seen a lot of stuff, both good and bad. More so bad, you know, it being the internet and all. I've seen all the way from cinnamon challenges to drama consisting of famous YouTubers, you know, trying to create controversy just for a like and a view, you know, it's the YouTube way. If you're not doing that, then you're not a true YouTuber, right? The one thing that really irks me the worst over anything is the innocence being taken away from those that it should never have been taken from in the first place. That being children and animals. And I would pretty sure if I asked you the same question, you would probably agree. I would hope so anyways. The thing is, for someone to take that innocence and throw it in the trash, there'd have to be something wrong with you, right? Something wrong in the noggin. Now in the content creation world, we're constantly being seen, being watched, our every move being posted and shared. And I think that's another thing that we can all agree on, keeping your online presence to a minimum. Everything in moderation, in fact. When you don't moderate or limit yourself, you start living in some kind of weird delusion of grandeur. Let me ask you as a viewer a few simple questions, you know, they're really simple ones. How many hours do you spend a day watching videos? If you're a content creator, how many hours do you spend creating? 3 hours, 7 hours, 15 hours, you know? What if you have a kid? Wouldn't you want to, you know, a family, wouldn't you want to spend time with them as much as possible anyways? These questions are questions that if you answered minimally, you're doing fine. You're doing good for yourself. In fact, all my years on YouTube, I haven't seen someone with this much delusion, this much selfishness, or is it just this easily manipulated, you know, like someone like Cyrax even. If you don't know who Cyrax is, you probably should just do like a Google search of Chance Wilkins, kind of crazy. In fact, you could actually consider this person to be the female Cyrax. This is the life of a delusional child neglector, Kerissa Tabona, aka Controlla. Now, for the sake of time and confusion, I'll be referring to Controlla by her name, Kerissa, and before I get too deep into this, the subject we're speaking of is kind of heavy and deals with some forms of what you would consider child abuse, or even at the maximum child abuse, at the minimum child neglect, among an array of other crimes that you may not be appropriate for many. So if you're sensitive to these subjects in this video, I implore you to click off now, as your mental health is far more important than just watching a video on YouTube about some dummy, you know, a big old dummy. That being said, if you're new to the channel, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. Kerissa Tabona is a New Yorker who you can consider to be hard-headed. Now, it's debatable on whether she's hard-headed or just suffers from oppositional defiance disorder. You know, the disorder where if you tell someone to do something, they just do the complete opposite just because you told them not to do it. Most of that's for children, but she acts like a child. Kerissa, she's got a kid. As you'll find very soon that she doesn't take very good care of it to the fullest of her abilities, which is not proven to be quite that much. You know, she doesn't really have very good motherly instincts from what I've seen. The thing about psychology of a lolcow is the awareness to the delusion and mental gymnastics that they have to perform to mentally right their wrongs. Most of the mental gymnastics ends up being other people's issues, and often accompanied with the phrases, "It's not my fault. They did this to me," or just straight up denial, even though there is an insurmountable evidence that proves otherwise. Lolcows like Cyrax, which if you don't know who that is, a lot of these lolcows tend to not want to take accountability, suffer from the consequences, oftentimes blame others for their actions while spilling on about how something isn't fair. A lot of the issues come from heavy mental disease or disorder, which isn't really their fault, you know. It's not something that they can help, but it is a factor that they have to get through it. You have literal thousands telling you to stop or quit. It's kind of hard to justify that kind of opposition, right? When you got thousands of people sitting there telling you, hey, you need to just get off the internet, go spend time with your family, and she just doesn't. Kind of tells you what kind of person she is. The mentality of a lolcow has little understanding and is still being studied on, but the one that we're talking about today takes the cake. From child negligence to doxing people's families, Kerissa has no bounds that she won't cross just to shut someone up and get a little attention. Now that we've went over the fundamental traits that make up a lolcow, which at this point, if you don't know what a lolcow is, you should probably do a quick Google search as well. Just look up Chance Wilkins, alright? If you don't know what it is and you don't want to Google it, here's a TLDR. The definition clearly reads, a lolcow is someone who can be farmed for laughs through reactions or situations that most other creators would just ignore. Lolcows tend to embrace the reaction, most times through anger or other intense emotions. Let's dig into one of the worst ones I've ever had the pleasure of researching, starting with the earliest reports of her degeneracy, which will be the prescription theft. Now, to introduce you to Kerissa, we'll begin with one of the first accounts of her trashed behavior. As stated in the next section of this video, Kerissa has a really lengthy criminal history, along with bad drug problem. Because of this drug problem, she had the audacity to steal a prescription pad from one of her doctors. She was eventually caught. There's nothing to go off video-wise. There wasn't really a recording of the incident, and it's very hard to find any kind of links to this. Now, let's go on to September 12th of 2014. We call this the Blue Fairy mugging. Kerissa and a convicted felon named Jesus Rodriguez were out for a leisurely stroll, you know, as we all do, when they happened across a 24-year-old woman that we'll only be referring to as Blue Fairy. Alright, we don't want to get into specifics of names. As Kerissa talked about it, she claims that this Blue Fairy stole drugs from her. Kerissa decided that while Blue Fairy was out for her evening walk, she would run up on her and throw her to the ground. Proceeded to hold her there while Rodriguez tied her up with a rope and applied duct tape to her mouth. Deplorable. Rodriguez then repeatedly punched and kicked Blue Fairy in the face while Kerissa went through her purse. The items stolen from Blue Fairy were a driving permit, an EBT card, 2 cell phones, and around $240 in cash. What a wonderful person, you know. We can't always blame someone for how they are now based on their past, but when you act like a piece of shit, I totally blame your past. Though they thought that they could get away with it, law enforcement apprehended them a couple hours later. According to Kerissa, the only reason that she was even caught was her shoes. Rodriguez was already a convicted felon and was reportedly sentenced to in between 18 months to 3 years, I believe, with 1 concurrent year due to one of his petty larceny pleas. Kerissa was issued a residential drug treatment program and was told that she had to pay restitution to Blue Fairy to upwards of $500 for attempted robbery and assault. Yeah, that happened. You know, being the delusional fuck that she is, she still to this day just denies ever doing any of that. She never touched Blue Fairy. She never had to do any of that, you know. It's all a lie. You know, here's a clip of her denying that.
I'm sorry, but this girl has a history of physical violence towards women. What was Rodriguez then used rope and duct tape to bind her hand.
That never happened.
It placed duct tape over her mouth.
That never happened either. A black man.
And kicked her in the face, police allege. Controller took a debit card.
I have no idea, like, how people could steal, like, people's credit cards.
Took a debit card, 2 phones, a learner's permit, a state benefit card, and $240 in cash.
My money.
Victim's purse.
I took my own money. Also, she didn't have a purse. So another lie sprinkled in there.
Now, I don't mean to judge.
She had 2 phones because one worked and one didn't. One was an Obama phone, I think, and one was a regular phone. Pretty sure. Let me explain something about my arrest, okay? We didn't take her debit card. So the duct tape and the rope was because his car got crashed the night before. That's why the duct tape and the rope was there. Because this bitch literally fucked his car up.
I wouldn't really consider everything going smoothly in between 2014. Most of the accounts that we can see, she was probably doing, you know, drugs or trying to get off of them using methadone. She's very, very skinny compared to how she is now, being almost 260 plus pounds. She was 130 back in 2014, even maybe 2016, somewhere in there. She claims that she gained all this weight because she was underweight, but if you go to any kind of website talking about the obesity rates back then, being 130 pounds in 2014 was actually the norm, so she's just trying to cope with that. But in 2018, Kerissa's husband, Charlie, died of a heroin overdose. He was reportedly clean for around 2 years before relapsing. R.I.P. Charlie, you know. What is crazy is that Kerissa claims that she never did heroin or crack until she met another love of her life, Danny. Yet, if you take a look at how Kerissa looks then compared to now, it's very clear that she was using at the time. Here's a video of her talking about her husband's death. I've had to dig through so many of her fucking live streams and so many clips. I have had to have spent like 20 plus hours of my life just watching from A to Z, you know, oldest stream to the most recent stream at 2 times speed. It's fucking mind-numbing.
I don't want to make this video. I never thought that I would have to make this video, but last night my husband overdosed on heroin and he passed away. I don't understand it, and I'm so angry, and I'm so mad, and I'm so hurt. And I'm so sick of addiction, and I'm sick of heroin. My daughter's not gonna have any memory of her father. She's never gonna know him. She's not gonna know how he was. She's not gonna remember his laugh. I feel so lost right now. I don't know how to react, and I don't know how to feel. I don't know much of anything right now, but I know I'm not the only one that deals with this. I know I'm not the only one that's lost someone to addiction. I know that I have to be strong for my daughter, and I just wanted to thank everyone who reached out, sent their condolences and everything like that. I have to speak on this because it's fucked up. It's so fucked up. It's like the most fucked up shit in the world. Like, as a mother, to know that your child won't know their father, and there's nothing that you could do about it. I found him, he was locked in the bathroom and I couldn't get to him, and you just know, like, you know that something's wrong. And so, yeah, that's really what I'm kind of dealing with right now, and I fucking hate heroin. I fucking hate it. And I hope that whoever sold him the heroin, that they get locked up. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You killed my husband. You took my daughter's father away from her. You took him away from her.
So, the GoFundMe. I don't know if they want to give out their actual name, but we'll call him Rick. Rick always wins. Rick's an interesting character in what I call the controliverse. Having a son that has a rare form of cancer, he set up a GoFundMe to help pay for the treatments as they were extremely expensive. Being the terrible person that Kerissa is, a lot of people had voiced their concern, made calls to get the attention of both law enforcement and you know, it's kind of one of those things where you hear one side and then you hear the other, and they're just blaming both each other. So there's no real way to determine whether or not Rick was a part of it or any of that. So we're not going to post any blame on either Kerissa or Rick on this. But Kerissa, she did some stuff. Because of all the calls, Kerissa responded by going into a certain Discord server and claimed and compared that the disease of addiction was the same or worse than cancer, which didn't sit very well with people. Rick made a video at some point, it's now deleted, of him flashing $14,000, which prompted Kerissa to email a GoFundMe and made a report of it, accusing it of being a scam. It eventually got it shut down, which is very, very sad, because she was claiming that Rick son didn't really have cancer, that it was all fake. It was you know, he was getting money for the GoFundMe, and just it's not true. All right, so the GoFundMe, I'm gonna put that in the description. Anybody that wants to donate, please go donate to him. Support Rick. Go to his channel, Italian Guy TV, and put a strong arm emoji in one of his videos. You know, go support the dude. The bagel. Oh boy. Oh, the fucking bagel. So, while driving and live streaming with her kid in the backseat, Kerissa decides to go to a bakery. When they get there, she asks Ellie what she wants, and Ellie wanted a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. You know, the kid's a growing kid. She needs her protein. You know, they got the bacon, the egg, and the cheese. It's all just so protein rich, right? You know, and it was just slightly too expensive for Kerissa. She didn't like it, all right? She didn't like how expensive it was because she's a cheap woman. So Kerissa gets up there, she asks Ellie, what do you want? Ellie responds with I want a bacon, egg, and cheese. And Kerissa says, no, you're not getting that. And then asks her again, what do you want? It's craziness. It's craziness. She got frustrated. They decided to buy her a bagel. And while they were driving away, oh, Kerissa, you can just see her eyeballing that goddamn bagel. You know, she was telling Ellie to save half of it for lunch at school. Like, why? It's half a bagel. Why would you want to save that for school? It's pretty goddamn awful. You know, that's pretty fucking rough for a childhood. You know, I got free lunches because I was kind of a poor kid. So she should be getting free lunches because she's a very poor child. In the end, Kerissa ended up eating half of it, and for proof, here's the clip. Editor, play that shit.
What do you want?
Hello.
I'm just gonna get you a bagel. I'm not getting you a bacon and egg sandwich. Go. Sorry. What do you want?
Bacon and eggs.
No, I'm not getting you bacon and eggs. I can get you a bagel though. Can I get what do you want? What kind of bagel you want? Pick one out. It's good. You know what you could do? You could save the half for lunch later. Can you give me? I'll put it in your backpack. Yeah, put in your lunch bag. Tell your teacher. Say this is for lunch. Can I have a bite? I'm gonna eat this. Almost done.
Now, how are you?
Can I get I don't know what I want. Wait, no, can I get a tall caramel brulee latte, a tall vanilla chai tea with breve,
Okay, anything else?
a ham and cheese croissant, that's it. A ham and cheese croissant, that's it.
A ham and cheese croissant, that's it.
What do you want?
Bacon and eggs.
No, I'm not getting you bacon and eggs. I can get you a bagel though.
So this is the one instance that really got me in an uproar. All right, this is what really got me in an uproar about Kerissa in the first place. I came across this clip of her smacking her kid. All right, and of course this clip's been pretty much erased off the internet. There's one little tiny GIF of it that you can find. As far as I know, you know, if anybody has links to it, make sure to drop that shit in the fucking comments. She smacked her kid, backhanded her. As far as I know, there wasn't any like ill intent. You know, seeing it, being introduced to this lady with, you know, her hitting Ellie basically with the back of her hand. Not very, it didn't put a very good taste in my mouth. Though it was short, and as far as I know, the only instance where Kerissa is shown being somewhat physical with her child, this instance is what introduced me to her. I was shown this clip where Ellie seems to be in Carissa's face, seemingly trying to play or possibly even being a little rambunctious, you know, she's a kid. Kerissa backhanded her on the mouth. Now from the clip that I could find, it doesn't necessarily seem like the most terrible of actions. She didn't seem like she was, you know, abusing the kid. But knowing what I know now, especially from the bagel incident and, you know, from acts that you'll find out later, you know, and also how, like, Kerissa acts when she's brought under pressure and how impulsive she is, I couldn't turn a blind eye to it and really felt it was worth mentioning. I mean, we already know that Ellie is living in a filthy house without a bed and a bedroom. You know, we'll get into the actual living situation later. Here's the GIF that I could find of her giving a good smack on the mouth. Take it for what you want. This was on a live stream. That's just something you don't do during live. You know, you don't ever, in my opinion, don't ever show your kids on a live stream in the first place. I know people do it. I highly recommend that you don't, because there's some weirdos out there.
Yeah, you better stop. Yeah, you better stop. Yeah, you better.
So the February accident, this is what also brought my attention to her. Yeah, on July 5th of 2023, Kerissa was live, decided it would be just a wonderful idea, you know, to do a live stream while she was driving. Though she's done it before, this particular time she decided to make a couple bad decisions. Before she left, she took a couple big old bong rips, you know. If you take a look at her eyes in the clip I'm about to play, which you can see clear as day because her focus was not on the road, it was on her chat. Her eyes are glazed over and spacey. Now, you'll probably like, what's so wrong with that? People are on their phones while driving all the time. She wasn't even touching her phone. Well, let me enlighten you. In this clip, she had her child in the back, she was high, and she was focused not on the road, but on the comments section and what people were saying, which it's been documented that she looks at the phone for almost about 5 seconds. So I'm not going to play the entire video in full. We'll skip around through it. I'll have the editor do that for me. But, here's the video of the accident, the infamous accident.
I gotta go to Parkway North. okay. It's okay. I gotta call Grandpa. You're okay. We got into an accident.
Mommy.
It's okay. I gotta call Grandpa.
So after the accident, you know, she blamed it on Waze. She blamed it on Waze. I don't exactly know how. Don't know why. She didn't even get out of the front seat to go check on Ellie. She's just repeatedly saying, hey, you're all right, you're all right. She doesn't even know if the kid's all right. She doesn't even think to get out of the front seat, go over to the back seat, and make sure the kid is not hurt. You know, if I were to get into an accident with my kid, the first instance is me getting out of the car. You know, even if I can't, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm all crumpled up. I'm gonna try to get out of the car and see if my child's okay, instead of getting on the phone and go talk to old daddy, because she's scared. She's scared that she's gonna get in trouble with old daddy, old Gary, you know, because he's the one that takes care of everybody. He's the man of the house. That being said, my kid's gonna be the first priority. Ellie is not Carissa's first priority in any instance, all right? And I know you're watching this, you lard. I know you're watching this, you scum. She didn't even take the blame. She blames the app Waze, calls her dad. What about the fucking child, Kerissa? What about the kid? There's been many victims of the doxing stuff, lots of them. I'm not gonna just list off names or anything like that. We'll keep them all anonymous because they've already had a lot of issues with that. We're just gonna talk about how many there are and the instances of what they would be. Kerissa has this problem where she wants to get back at the haters. Anyone that has anything bad or calls out for disgusting behavior. How does she get back to them? How does she get back at them? She doxes them. She gets her weens in the chat to find out any info on pretty much anyone. Now you're more than likely asking, what kind of info? You know, what is doxing? It could be anywhere from medical incidents. You know, if somebody has something go wrong, she'll have somebody pull an incident report straight from the hospital and then make fun of that incident. She'll find her house, she'll find your work, anything really. Not only does she have them dox you, she also has them come after family members, even children, 1-year-olds. She'll make fun of somebody for being pregnant and, you know, have somebody threaten to swat them too. It's both mentally disturbed and a danger for those that speak out against the horrible human beings, even on the internet or anywhere. As far as mine and great content creators research could find, the list of people being doxed by Kerissa was around 10 plus. That list is probably more than 10, but from what I can find, there is a solid 10 people that has been a victim of her shameless doxing, and it is awful. Of course, for privacy concerns, I'll not be showing clips or videos of her doxing. You know, I don't want to compromise any of that, so let's just move on to the next segment. So, most lolcows aren't typically the most aware when it comes to their living situation, like their cleanliness. Kerissa's not really an exception to that. Just take a look at her hair when she, you know, live streams for like 11 hours a day. Just take a good gander at that shit. The person that she lives with is her dad, Gary. The house they live in is around 4 bedrooms, and every single one of them are just filled to the brim with clutter. We've even heard Gary state that he hates how bad the house gets sometimes.
Why does this house look like a tornado ran through here?
That's because
I know it's because of her.
I've been back here picking up all the
I know it's because of her.
and threw them all over.
What's that crap? What's this?
Froze them. I'm getting tired of living like this. It's disgusting.
All right, I'm handling it.
Now, we've witnessed her negligence with Ellie, and the fact that she's been proven time and time again that she's just not the best mom. She's not suited to be a mother. It doesn't end with an accident or even a bagel. It couldn't, because it's Kerissa. There's always something more fucked up when you're talking about Kerissa. Ellie's around 6 years old, and she doesn't even have a bed. She hardly even has a room, man. It's crazy. Imagine having a 4-bedroom house and nobody can live upstairs except for Gary. Everyone else is basically like Control is living on a fucking couch. It's craziness. It's insane. Here's a photo, actually, of the air mattress that Ellie sleeps on. It's either an air mattress or an inflatable pool chair. I really don't know, but it fits for the way Kerissa lives. Back on the topic of her entire house being trashed, the entire house also looks like this. speaking of the house being cluttered, she also claims that the weed and methadone that she smokes and takes is in a lockbox. But you know, mommy's a liar. She's always lying. She was lying about that, and here's some evidence that you know, at least the weed, in fact, was not in a lockbox. So there's that. Now, this is probably going to be like a part 1. There's a lot more research that I could do, but everybody was just frothing at the mouth for content. So this might be a little bit shorter of a documentary. So in conclusion, I had to do a lot of research, several hours of just research and watching her live streams and just being mind numbed. Basically, I feel like my brain is ripped out of my skull and it was just smoothened out. You know, I feel like there's just absolutely no wrinkles. It's just a big, looks like a fucking lung in there. You know, in all my years on YouTube, she's one of the most delusional people, streamers, content creators. She's one of the most delusional that I have ever found. Like, it's crazy that somebody could be exactly like Cyrax. It's almost insane that somebody's that identical to Cyrax. But so Kerissa is probably one of the most delusional streamers I've ever seen. And to wrap this up with a big old pretty bow, Kerissa just needs to get off the internet, spend some more time with her daughter, clean up her house, clean up her act, clean herself up, you know. So children have a tendency to mimic those that teach them. And what is Kerissa teaching her? The N-words. She's teaching her N-bombs. She's teaching her all kinds of slurs. Teaching her how to call women bitches. She's teaching them how to be a horrible human being. Ellie has no chance in life with a mother like Kerissa. She doesn't get fed like a growing kid should. She doesn't even have her own room, much less a bed. It's already starting to talk like her mom, which isn't a good thing. Kerissa needs to grow up and realize that perpetually being on the internet isn't even good for anybody, especially her, especially if you have a kid that relies on you, both for their physical and mental growth. You know? I know you're probably watching this, so take the advice and be better. That's all I really say. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, I did a lot of work for this. This is just the key points. I will try to do like a part 2 where I can get on the in-between, but getting any in-between stuff has just been kind of a hassle. I want to leave you with this. I love each and every one of you. Appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And Kerissa, you're a horrible human being.